Welcome to another edition of Mark's Inspiration. Got the D-Man here, and I'm glad you could join me today. Today's topic is a continuation of how to treat your husband, or your boyfriend, or your man. Or if you're a man, how you should be treated by your girlfriend, your wife, your lover, whatever. And if you're not being treated that way, probably you have led the relationship to the point where you're being disrespected or devalued. Men, you are the leaders, okay? It's up to you to lead the relationship, not to control, not to dominate, but to lead. Because most women, 99% of them, will follow your lead if you're a strong leader. And if they don't follow your lead, they probably have too much, masculinity, or they're too much into their masculine to follow a masculine man. And that's okay. They can find a man that is more in his feminine, and maybe that works better for them. But I'm talking about the more masculine, dominant male here. Not domineering, dominant. There's a difference, okay? Number 3, we will continue with this article I found that we were reading yesterday on the internet for public use. Brag on him. Casually lift your husband up in the presence of other people. This is not to say that you should obnoxiously brag about him to the point of annoying other people or embarrassing your husband, but simple comments to others about something nice he did for you. Taking interest in what he says in group conversations or a sincere compliment will go a long way toward making your husband feel appreciated. And be sure to always praise your husband to your children. This is very important. Many people will go talk to their friends, their buddies about their wife and complain about their wife. And then they wonder why their wife seems to get worse. And in return, the wife many times talks to her friends about her husband and his defects and the things that she doesn't like about him. And he seems to get worse. Whatever you focus on in your experience will grow. I'm guilty of this. I've complained about my wife when I was married to my buddies, and guess what? Things just got worse. But you say, well, Mark, that's what's happening. Of course, I need to talk to somebody about it. I'm not saying not to share your problems with somebody or that you need to keep it all bottled up within inside you. But when you complain about your wife, you need to stop and think, what am I doing maybe that has brought it to this point? Because as a man, you are the leader. You will lead the relationship or you won't. And if you don't lead it, more than likely it's going to be led into the ditch by both of you. Someone needs to lead. And it needs to be the man. Usually, most of the time, women want a strong man, a dominant man, a leader. As I said, not domineering, but a man who can lead. Not too many leaders out there nowadays. A lot of followers. We need followers too. Nothing wrong with followers. I've been a follower at one time in my life also. Okay, we'll continue here. Number 4, understand his job. Oh, let's back up. And to the kids, don't be talking about your partner's defects to your children. You and your wife, or you and your husband, whoever's watching this, need to stick together when it comes to the kids. You need to make decisions together. Do not undermine the authority of either spouse. Very important. A family is like a small government. You must work together. Number 4, understand his job. Take an active interest in your husband's career and his feelings toward it. Many men are frustrated with their jobs, feeling that no one really appreciates their worth or value their talents and abilities. When you appreciate what your husband does, you may become his only hope for achieving genuine self-worth. Until he really believes he is worth something, well, let's hope he believes he's worth something when he gets together with you. Because if he's looking to you, the wife, for his validation, that's not a good place to be for him, and that's not a very good place to start as a man. He should be able to validate himself and find his validation in his mission, his purpose, his goals. Never belittle his job, its importance to him, or his daily work activities. Nothing destroys a man's self-worth more than to hear his wife cutting down his efforts to support her. So show interest in your husband's world of work. Support him in his struggles. Excuse me. Discover what he does on a daily basis. Find out which projects he enjoys and which ones he doesn't. And discover how he interacts with his coworkers. Don't bombard him with questions all at once, but over time get to know who he is in his work life. And make sure he knows what your questions are meant to show interest in his life. Make sure he knows that your questions are meant to show interest in his life, not to pry or to imply that he loafs on the job. If you notice that he is unhappy with his job, if you notice he is unhappy with his job, when a man feels unimportant because of his job, it tears away at the very heart of his being. Help him discover the value of what he does. That's very important. If you think about what that person just said there in that article, men find their worth, their fulfillment, their value in their purpose, their mission, their work. So if you're a man trying to find your value in your relationship with your woman, you have the horse before the cart, or the cart before the horse. I think it's the cart before the horse. You have it backwards, because you need to find your fulfillment in what you do, in your purpose, your vision, not in your woman. That is putting way too much pressure on her. She doesn't want to be there. She doesn't want to feel like she is the main focus of your life. All right, let's go on. Be open-minded. Number 5. Listen to your husband's decisions. This is not blind obedience, but rather open-minded listening. Rather than stubbornly holding on to your own wishes and immediately shooting down his wishes, discipline yourself to withhold your reaction and let his ideas sink in before you respond. By showing your husband that you respect his wisdom and leadership, you will be communicating that he is valuable. It is difficult for many of us to practice sacrificial love, and it is all too easy to make sure our own needs are being met. But try to show your husband you love him by respecting his leadership. And that is very good advice. And that advice is coming from a woman. Now, there's a woman who knows how to treat a man. Very important to follow the leader. Like I said, the family is like a small government. Just like in our country here in the U.S., we have a government. By me submitting to the leadership here, I have a whole army to protect me. I have police to protect me. I have water. I have food. I have nice roads. I have all these amenities because I submit to the leadership of the government. It's the same thing in a family. There's nothing wrong with the husband being the leader. There has to be a leader. And generally, for the last hundreds of thousands of years, it's been the man. Doesn't mean women can't lead, but in general, the man is the leader. Express admiration verbally. Number 6. Who would you rather spend time with? Someone who never says thank you or acknowledges your efforts to please him, or someone who is considerate and makes you feel special? The same goes for your husband. He's seeking affirmation and verbal appreciation from you. Don't let 2 days pass without expressing appreciation for at least one thing your husband has said or done during those 48 hours. And appreciation is like icing on the cake. Everyone loves appreciation. And it's good for you if you show appreciation to your wife, or if I'm talking to the wife here, the husband, or even to the children. Appreciate everything you have, even to yourself and to your God or whatever you believe in. Appreciation makes the things that you appreciate or that you have in your life to grow. Everything you have today is something you wanted yesterday. Appreciate what you have because you wanted it badly. Now you have it, so appreciate it. How many of you who are with your wife now, or how many of you who are with your husband now, weren't really appreciative of him when you were together before you got married. But what happens is when you're together every day, day in, day out, you become complacent. You don't really appreciate the things he does for you. And you men, you need to continue to appreciate what your woman does for you. It works both ways. But we don't. We just become entitled. Like as many of us who live here in the United States, do we appreciate our washer? Do we appreciate our dryer? Do we appreciate our refrigerator? Probably not. I know I didn't until I lived in a third world country for 6 years where we didn't have those things all the time. I washed clothes in a lake. I went years without a refrigerator. I didn't have a washer or a dryer for a long time. These things I never appreciated because I grew up with them. We always had them. Now I appreciate my washer and dryer and my refrigerator. I think about it often, and I think about how much I appreciated how nice it is just to go down and throw my clothes in the dryer instead of having to walk down a mountainside and wash my clothes on a rock in a lake, carry them back up, and then hang them out to dry. So it's an analogy there. It's the same way with your wife or your husband. We get used to being with them and we really don't appreciate them, nor do we show appreciation. Very important, appreciation, gratitude. Number 7, express admiration non-verbally. According to studies on marital communication, show that verbal communication only accounts for 7% of the total communication between a husband and a wife. The rest is comprised of tone of voice, 38%, and facial expressions and body movement, 55%. That means that only a small portion of your meaning is conveyed through your actual words. The majority of your communication is in how you say it. So as you communicate with your husband, show you admire and respect him by reflecting it in your tone of voice and your body language. And that is so important. The old saying goes, I can't hear what you're saying. What is it? I can't hear what you're saying because, I forgot who you are. Okay, who you are speaks so loudly I can't hear what you're saying. Basically what that means is what you say doesn't mean near as much as who you are. Your words do not convey who you are near as much as your actions, your body language. And there's like an aura around us that you can feel people when they come up to you. You can feel a person's presence depending on what is going on inside of that person. I know what you are speaks so loudly I can't hear what you're saying. That's why I always tell men you must become first. You know, you can have all these approach lines, you can play this part of the big wheel or whatever it is, but if you are not that inside, women will see right through that. Women are more intuitive than men in general, and you cannot fool them. Maybe for a short time, but is that what you really want? I mean, do you just want to fool them so you can go to bed with them? I mean, that's pretty cheap, but if that's what you want to do, then you will either reap the consequences of that or the benefits. And more than likely it will be consequences if you continue to do that long enough. But that's your choice. We learn from these things. Okay, I hope this has been of help to you. Smash that like button, subscribe, and thanks for joining me. Again, I appreciate my new subscribers. I see that I'm growing every day, and I like that I can get my message out here and help you people. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.